welcome to the Saltcorn Christmas special. I can't decide which way it should go. Should it go over here or here? Or, I don't know. Maybe we'll start with this, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so I promised I had presents for everyone, and I do. Sadly, these are not sort of physical things that you will discover in your post boxes, but or coming down the chimney, of course. But they are, as usual, things we've been working on. But there's some cool things, and I'll show you. There's a bunch of small improvements and some big ones that have previously had a lot of people excited. Hey Patrick, good to see you. And let's get started by talking about that. So let's see, what have I got? Okay, so this is my application. Let's see. So the first thing I would like to show you is I'm actually going to build something here, because I've got a bunch of smaller things, but I'm showing you two semi-large things. They're both new modules that we've released and that can go in the module store. And we will I'll show you how to set them up, and we can talk about it. So the first one is something that people have actually requested for some time. In fact, some of it goes back way back to the early days. And let's see. So maybe I'll just do it. Maybe I should have cleaned this. Let me clean what I had done before, and then we can sort of start afresh. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is a tree view editor. I spent some time working on it this week. The second thing is a editor that's like Notion, a block-based editor as it's called, and I will show you how we can then combine the two to get quite a nice user interface. And what that will give you is a sort of document editor with quite rich documents. But these can also be used, these two modules, the tree-based editor and the the tree-based view and the block-based editor, they can sort of stand alone and they can combine to something cool. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, if you want to do this, is to install the tree view plugin module. It will be, for you, this is my local, this is because I have them checked out locally, and then they're installed from local, so I can quickly edit the source code. I don't have to release a new version every time I want to see the changes. But this is the one you want to install. Yeah? So just go to your module store, type in tree, and install this tree view. Okay, so now you want to create, so this is going to give you a something like a tree that you can drag and drop in and also use to filter. So let's build a table that has a sort of tree-like structure. So we can just do well, we're going to be building a note type application here. I'll do that over the next couple of minutes. So we'll call it notes. But it can be anything that you want to have a hierarchical structure that you want to open and close. And so this is actually something that I forgot to talk about in the video on relationships. If any of you have been going through the tutorial videos, I forgot to talk about the self-join pattern. So I guess we'll talk about it here. So as usual, let's just add a name field. Most tables end up with a name field. Merry Christmas. Hey Mike, good to see you. And let's add a okay, so now we're going to add a sort of self-join field. So this is a key to itself. I may have talked about this in other videos. So you're gonna pick a key to the table that you're editing, and here you will do you just call it, we should call this parent. Alright. And that will have a name, and set null is usually a good thing here for this. Okay, so now we have the beginnings of some sort of hierarchical structure. So the way it will work is that if you have a hierarchy, and if you are at the root, then this will be null, this will be missing, and if you have a parent, then that will be filled in with that value. So let's just fill in a couple. Let's say this is some sort of school, and this has an English department. Okay, so that is, oh sorry, sometimes you need to just refresh these to get them. We should really have that. Let's call this something else. Let's call it my school. Okay, and again, this is only showing once it's been refreshed. That's the limitation of this editor. Okay, so now we want to edit this. So let's build a tree-based editor with our new module. Just occurred to me that you guys may be wondering why on earth I'm talking about all this. Hopefully this would be notes tree. And here you want the tree view, and we're on notes. Okay, so the title field will be name, parent field is parent. We don't have an order field, and let's do both of these. So let me just add an order field. So this is like, so you if there's an order inside a tree, then you can set that. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so now let's go back, add that order field, that's the integer. Okay, so now let's see what this looks like. Okay, so I've got this thing here, and I can, okay, so look, there isn't very much right here. Okay, so we don't, within this tree, we don't have a facility for making it, adding nodes, but you can do that outside, right? So but you see now here we have this key thing here is we have a tree. I can open and close branches, and here I can move this around. Okay, so let's make this, we can make this a root somehow. I can make this a root. No, it's difficult. No, I can't do that, but maybe once you have a few more, then we can do it. Okay, let's build sort of something that we're gonna wrap this in a filter. This is also a good pattern. Usually, you know, the top level view of a table usually ends up being a filter. And then on that filter, I'm gonna add the button to create a new one, new node. So add the node tree. All right, and then we're gonna add the action, and you know, I know I wanted one of these. By the way, feel free to ask any questions if you want. Oh, actually, this isn't gonna be. Hey, Luso, good to see you. Is this gonna be? What's this gonna be? Maybe we want a. What we really want is a. I want to be able to edit some of these. So I'm gonna create an edit view. By the way, it just occurred to me that the sound is probably completely off because I did not plug in my microphone. I guess you guys can hear me. What's this even coming from? Okay, I guess is the sound okay? I guess it is. I totally forgot to plug in my usual microphone. That was silly. Okay, well, I hope this is okay. In case you can't hear me, just say so. Just write something, or in case the sound is bad, then just write that in the message chat. But I guess it's okay. Now we get to find out what this microphone is like. Okay, so I'm gonna add a edit. I'm gonna edit these, and sound is very quiet. Hey Jose, sound is very quiet. Is it still bad? Maybe let me try and plug this in. See if I can rescue this. My disaster of a Christmas show. Hang on a second. Better? Oh wait, I need to just change to that. Oh, that hasn't shown up. Okay, is that all right? It's a bit weird. Yeah, so I forgot to plug in my microphone. And now I've tried to plug in the usual one, but okay, let's stick with what we're at. Okay, let's just stick with this. Hopefully, you know, just okay, maybe it's all right. Okay, so I don't know. I know where the microphone is coming from, but it's coming from somewhere. Okay, great. So let's do this. So I'm just gonna do an editor here. This is actually just create a new one. Okay, so no, actually that's good. And then I just want to set this to back to referral. That's the default now. And okay, in this note tree, I actually just want to, here, this should actually just be a view link. Where's view link? Do I not have a view link? Maybe I just have a link. Oh man, it's kind of hard. We're gonna get, I said to someone else, we're gonna get someone to clean up some of this mess here. Where's the view? So I guess I just do have a link. In filter, I just have a link, I guess. Okay, and I want the view, and the view I want is notes edit. Note edit. Okay, and I would still like a button. Okay, let's see if this works. So now I go back to my filter. Oh, I call that files. I was all confused. Yeah, that's good. So now I have a button, so I can add new things to this tree. And let's see, so now I can drag them around, right? So that one went in here. So look, it's all right. I can drag these around. And these are saved. I have to say this drag and drop library that we used, it wasn't quite as good as I expected. Also, I don't quite know about the, you know, should we start off with them being expanded or anything like that? I'm not quite sure. So look, this was all developed earlier this week. We're going to test it. It's going to go into production a couple of weeks. And so I think, you know, there's going to be a couple of tweaks. But what you see here is we just have like some kind of tree view where you can fit things in hierarchically and then you can drag it around, right? And this should also, I know we have this other module called the comment tree that's suffering from some quite bad performance issues. This should be much better, and I need to go back and rewrite the comment tree to be sort of have that same level of performance. The comment tree seems to be doing a lot of queries to the database, which is very bad for performance. But this should be okay. So okay, so all I've got here is this tree, and you know, that's not that you know, it's nice. And for some applications, you need a tree here where you can drag things around, you can add things. The other thing that we have in this, did I enable that in the settings? Is that you can select. And for the moment, that doesn't do anything. All you see here is that this is sort of set here. So here I'm setting the ID, but soon we will put that to good use for fun and for profit. So I called this the notes. It doesn't really look like a note now. So let's talk about the next thing that I want to show you is this new editor we have for sort of block-based editor. It's called Block Suite. It's based on the Block Suite library, and we will see how these two combine. So to do that, for the next thing, hey, Merry Christmas to you, to Lowbolt. So let's say the next thing we want, again, you want to install this if you want to use it. If you like what you see in a couple of minutes, you install this. This is my local checkout, so I can make changes. You install here, but I've already got the local version of that. We should really do something about get rid of that one, but I'm not so fussed about me seeing something that's a bit weird. So anyways, you want to use this block suite, and let's go back to our notes. And so now to do that, actually all you need is a JSON field. So you need to have the JSON module installed as well. And then here we just call this doc because that's the contents. So we're creating a document, doesn't need a schema. And now I need a block-based editor. So you have a new, because of the block thing, we have a new block suite document. By the way, I'm typing, that's how I'm making this jump. This list here is a mess and it needs to be sorted out because it's getting longer and longer because we get more and more modules and it's difficult to find anything. So we're going to do something about that as well. You guys should, when things are annoying, let me know. And I know that things do become annoying once you hit a certain size in your application. Okay, let's just call this note block editor. Okay, so this just has a couple of options right now. So you just have to select the field, JSON field. I guess you can use the string as well. Okay, now I understand why. So I didn't write the code. Most of this work was done by Gerard. I've been sort of editing a little bit, and so now I know that he also allows you to do string. So you don't actually need a JSON, but that I've probably broke that with some of my changes. So I didn't quite understand that. So I need to just go and fix something if you're going to use it with strings. But it's good if you want to use it with JSON, because I assumed that was the only thing that was allowed. Okay, you can set it to, you have some options. This is an editor, so you can set it to read only so people can't edit it. You can have multiple pages. I would not recommend that for the moment. I think we still need to figure out how to interact with this multiple pages, multiple database rows. They have this interesting thing called the edgeless switcher. If I get to that, I might get to it, but otherwise I might drop it. And the autosave I would recommend, although I have not tested it. It was just released a couple of about an hour ago, but I've not tested it. So let's test it. And so if you choose autosave, there should be this so confusing. Oh no, there is a save button. Okay, there shouldn't be a save button. Okay, we still have a save button, but it autosaves. Should autosave. Okay, so now you have a new view. This is the note block editor, and I didn't realize that this could. All right. Well, that wasn't okay. I thought that was gonna fail, but I guess it works. But don't do that. What you really want to do is you want to edit this document here, right, on the JSON field on your rows, and so what you should do is, so in the filter, which I should have called, I called this files, that was wrong. Let's read the filter. Okay, so on the filter, what you want to do now is, we're gonna add this in columns, and we're gonna add all of these things into the column. Sometimes I just drag with this, it's easier to be honest. This is something else. So we've got, next year we're gonna get someone to look at the editor, and one of this is this problem of scrolling down and up. Okay, so now we have here that, and we want to make this a little bit smaller. And in here, we want to add the view, but we want to add it in a container. And the view, Okay, that view we want is the node editor. And we only want to show this if the container has the ID set from the filter. So if you're in the filter view, the show if formula is based on the state, which is what's up in the URL. Right? So you can here say, if ID is set. Okay, we're ready to run this. Okay, so now I can edit. Okay, so here we go. So now my school. Oops. Okay, and there's some stuff here, but okay, so let's see here. So what do we have now? So, did the autosave not work? Okay. The autosave did not work. So maybe I'll go back and I don't know. I didn't test it before, so maybe I've done something wrong, or possible that something wasn't working or some other assumption. So let's just go back and add the save button. So I can't show you the autosave, but I can show you without the autosave. So you see here my school notes. Okay, save button is down here. And now as I navigate, this is actually not showing. I don't know why that is. Alright, this is the pains of showing something that's brand new. I don't know why this isn't saving. Should be saving alright. Alright, so I don't know why this is broken and not saving the notes. So anyways, in fact, am I doing something totally wrong here? So there's also meant to be these commands here, but I don't know why there isn't. This isn't going very well. Let me just, here, I am going to cheat and check out an earlier version that I know worked. Okay, let's save. Is that saved? No, I don't know what's going wrong here. The title is saving, but not the thing. Okay, anyways, I'm wasting everybody's time here. We are meant to have a nice note-based editor here. I don't know why we're not getting the tags and we're not saving. So we're not getting the commands here. That's a bit of a shame. So you can do stuff here. You can do like a to-do list. That's not really working either. Huh, this is all a little bit sad. But okay, I will fix this. It was actually working yesterday, but I'm not sure why. Here we go. That's the commands. Okay. So you can do stuff here. Okay, now this is working. Is it because I wasn't caching here? Maybe I just need to disable the cache. No, that shouldn't be a problem actually. Now I don't know why the body isn't being saved, but it isn't. Maybe it was this problem that I messed up the saving. Okay, I can see why this could have been messed up. Anyways, okay, this is all a little bit sad, but let's look. I'll fix this ASAP, and then you know, you can try this out. It is good when it works. I'm sorry about the you know, difficulties here, but this is you know, basically what it's gonna give you is this here on the left is like, can give you some sort of selector. I think this works well. You don't have to use this with you know, this node-based editor. Anything where you're selecting anything in a tree, you can do the same trick that we did here. Instead of this view, you could have any other view in here that's basically some sort of show on the entity that you're selecting on the left here. I think that can work well for navigating a hierarchically organized set of data, where you then have some information about each one, right? So I guess if we're just ignoring now the, you know, I could have another show view here on this, and there we go. Yeah, let's just use that. That's good. And then on my filter here, instead of this, I can change this to a no show. And now, so here we can now navigate this. Yeah, there we go. So we're now, you know, looking at this, and we're, it's actually interesting, when drag and drop is enabled, you may want to disable drag and drop if you're doing this, because it can be like, if you press it and then move it a little bit, then it sort of thinks you want to drag and drop instead of selecting. But here we go, right? So you're navigating these, and then you're selecting these. So if you're doing some sort of anything like really where there's a hierarchy, then this could be a good pattern for viewing that. And we'll fix the blocks editor. Okay, what else would I like to talk about? So feel free, again, if you have any questions, please do ask. And I've got a couple more things I want to tell you about, and then we can talk. If there are any more questions, if there are any questions online, I'm happy to answer those. And we can then, if there aren't any questions, or if there's time left, I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the plans that we have for the next couple of months. Mike, I noticed that the new syntax highlighting completion system gets confused with SQL. Where are you entering SQL or SQL, whatever you call it? Where are you? Is this in the SQL module where you are? So I did not notice. So yes, now that you're telling me that it gets confused, yes, there is a plan to fix that. So, but can you just write here a little bit more information about where you see that problem, and then we'll try to reproduce it, and then we can I can tell you how what I'm gonna do about that. Okay. So let's talk about something else. So for this, I actually want to switch to Chrome, just because Chrome remembers my Chrome remembers my password to another application. Ooh. Bear with me. Oops. Just bear with me here for a second, and then I will show you. So what's happened is something good. We've got S3 based file systems, file storage working again, which is great if you are working at scale. So if I'm just booting up this application, where I've got this set. Okay, so let me try and get Chrome running in the same window size, so you can see my Chrome window. Oops. Okay, there we go. So, okay, so let me tell you a story, because it's story time for Christmas. So a very long time ago. Maybe around 0.67, a user wrote a actually non-trivial part. This was the first sort of non-trivial user contribution to Saltcorn that just came out of the blue. Somebody just did it, didn't ask for permission. They just submitted a pull request, and I thought it was good. It was a good good piece of work. So the what this guy, I forget what his name is now. But what he did was he added a sort of settings tab here on the files, and what he did was add an option to store files on. Thanks, Mike. I'll get back to that. Store files on Amazon S3 instead of on the local file storage. So if you look at, it's all about like, where are these files stored, okay? And so by default, they're just stored on your droplet on a directory. You can actually see, since I'm not tied to, I can show you how to see that. If you like the command line, if you just do saltcorn info, then it prints out a whole bunch of information about the running system. And then it says one of these lines. Oops, I probably shouldn't have got my password. Fortunately, it's my local password, so it doesn't really matter. File store here. So this is a directory. So if I now do that, oh, I've got the initial slash, and that's got one directory for each tenant. Yeah, so that's where my files are. During testing, there's something weird where this gets expanded. So, but it's okay, and you know, when you're running it. So these are the files that I see on that tenant. Okay, so they're just a directory on your drive. You can set this, I think, with a configuration variable. If you run saltcorn info, it also tells you what configuration variables you can set. Yeah, so you can set saltcorn file store, and that will look for those files in a different directory on your computer. And then you can do stuff like, you know, if you have a mounted shared drive, then you could point it to that. You can also mount a shared drive inside that default location. We've done both of those. So that allows you to use your file storage off a shared drive. And if you're doing this multi-node that I talked about the last couple of goes, you do need to do something about your file stores. Otherwise, there'll be different files on each node. So you will want to do something with a shared drive. But this is, of course, not, you know, some would say this isn't the modern way of doing it. And the modern way of doing it is to use something like an S3. Now, personally, I am not sure I agree, but I you know, recognize that that's a very popular opinion, that you should use something like S3 for file storage and not rely on block storage anymore. I think those have their ups and downs. And, you know, I definitely want to support that, especially if we're supporting something that's not tied into Amazon AWS, but is also, you know, compatible across multiple different S3 compatible providers. And so there is now this option, and that was contributed by a user, to add storage based on S3, so that these files that you see here would no longer live. They would no longer live on a drive in your on your computer, but they would live on the cloud, right? In an S3 service, typically AWS S3, but DigitalOcean is offering one, as we'll see in a second. Google is offering one as well that is could be used with this. Okay, now but unfortunately, what happened was that the way we represented files in Saltcorn changed, and we stopped storing files in the database. We no longer had a database. We always had, like, we used to have this dual representation where there was one row for each file in a database table, and then there was a file on disk. So the contents would be stored on disk, and the file metadata would be stored on a row in the database. We got rid of that because there was essentially no point. It was a performance. You'd have to do a performance lookup. It was a performance hit. So you'd have to do a lookup on the database every time you're serving a file, and that just takes longer. And there's no reason for that because we could use extended attributes to store all sorts of metadata based on files in Linux, and also that works on other systems as well. So we sort of got rid of the database row that stored the identity of the file, and that meant that I didn't really know what to do about S3. So for a long time, this S3 was broken, and quite frankly, no one really asked for it. We used S3 in a different way to store backup files, and that is something we added, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. But here, this idea of storing your primary files in S3 just simply was broken, and there was a warning here, as you may have seen. So, but now somebody needed it, and they very generously paid for this to be sort of reactivated. They wanted it for Google, so first we did the basic one for S3, and Google promises to be S3 compatible. Of course, that compatibility is a movable feast. So we moved. It didn't work. So we had to do something special. So Gerard did all this work, and essentially now it works with Google storage. So indeed, I am here running with Google storage, and we can see I can press this, and I can see the files. So there are different options here that down here live here. So we basically have 3 different options for serving files. One is that when we want to serve a file, then we fetch it from S3 to the Saltcorn server, and then we forward it on to the request. That's not ideal, but actually it's actually okay in terms of performance. It does solve the problem of if you have a lot of data you want to store, but it's not great in terms of if you want to serve that at high throughput, then this round trip sort of adds a layer of indirection, and that's not great. The second option is to serve directly from S3. That means that you are now serving at scale directly from the cloud. So every time you have an image on your system, that image will be sent directly from S3 to the client browser. That works. However, then it's difficult to see how to secure that. So now all users have access to all files, which may or may not be what you want. And I believe that if you press this button, then you also need to configure that S3 bucket to be open for file serving. And so, that is what you get. There is a third option, which is probably the most sort of mature and sensible. It's called pre-signing, where you are serving the files from S3, but there's a sort of pre-serving request to S3 to sort of get a different URL for a file that was otherwise inaccessible, and now it's going to be accessible to you. So that is... I didn't really know about this option, and I think we just need to play a little bit with the performance of this. So look, if you're running a newspaper and you want everyone to be able to see all the files, just press this, right? Just click this, everyone can see all the files. But if you're running something like a small application with some, if you're running an application that has a lot of data, but a smaller number of users, like maybe some internal management application, don't click this. And if you want to explore secure file serving at scale, call our sales team. Doesn't have to be. Look, if somebody just wants to test it, I'm not saying you have to pay for it or anything. But I just haven't really. No one has really asked for this. It's possible that the people who did want this will actually want to serve this, need this facility. So the code is there for the pre-signing. I'm not quite sure whether it's activated. I don't think it's activated by default. I think we're basically just missing an option here, and so we need to just add that if anyone is interested in it. So that's the S3. Let's get to okay. Let me talk briefly about some work that has been done in mobile. I won't show you. So a lot of this is under the hood and difficult to show, but I believe there is at least a option for it. In mobile applications, this is all about how to synchronize data if you become offline. And so I believe there is now an option. If we're allowing off, oh yeah, here we go, synchronization, or push sync. So this button doesn't look like very much, but what it means is that when there are changes on the server, and those need to go to the to the mobile application, then they're sent by a push message, and you need to set up some various different things here to make that work. The other thing you can do is you can ask the sync to happen at an interval, and that means that mobile app from the user will just synchronize in the background. The user won't see it, it's sitting on the device, and it will just sync every 5 minutes or something like that. The reason, so previously there was actually just a big sync button that the user saw, and this wasn't, I mean, to some extent sometimes you want that, and I think you still get that. If you have neither of these, the user will still get a sync button in the corner, and that is look, it's okay for some applications. I just thought for consumer applications it wasn't great. So we've now got these two alternatives. We now have 3 different ways: push sync, background sync by interval, and also and this is all about how do we send data from the server to the client, right, to the device, and that can then happen at an interval, or if you leave these off, then you get the synchronize button. So that's quite nice. It just means you have like more control over your app. You don't get forced to have this sync button. I don't know if we have the ability to put that button in anywhere else. It used to be in the menu. Okay, that's the mobile work. Christian has been doing a huge amount of work on that over the last couple of weeks. You know what? I was gonna show you some. Okay, I'll show you something super small, super quick. Little quality of life improvement. This is once again a Christmas present, this time to people who are building. Okay, now you can set the background on a card. You could do that before, but it was actually quite a lot of work. You had to like add a container, then you had to make that container 100% height, 100% width. You had to set the padding to 0. Now you just have a content setting here on the card. You can also set the alignment, but we can set like a color. Interesting, on Firefox this looks different. So now you get a color selector, and you can have a image as well. Why did I have this? Card. Body. Cover. Something like that. I just took a screenshot of the BBC webpage. Yeah, there we go. So you can have like a background image as well. This is obviously not the most suitable file, but it's a screenshot of an image. And I guess you can have a gradient as well. Wow, let's try this. And okay, now you have to tell me if this looks cool. I don't think it looks cool, but it's okay. Subtle gradients. Okay, great. So that's basically it. There's a small quality of life improvement, which is that if you pick the tab here and then you do something else, you edit something else, blah, 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 we're going to edit this, and then you go back, then that accordion tab is the one that's selected. So if you're editing something, that is the same for the container, and that's retained. Hey, Sebastian. Merry Christmas to you too. Okay, let's see. What have we got? Okay, so now I want to deal with Mike's question. So I'm just going to try and see where this is messed up. So you say SQL view. Do I have an SQL? What is an SQL view? Oops, sorry. Let's do this here. Okay, this is create a view. Do I not have SQL? SQL view? make it on the book. Mike, I hope this is what you are talking about. This SQL view like this. Ah, interesting. I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. I see this. So now if I do select from books. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. And let's see where else this... the answer to your question is there a plan to fix this? Yes, there is always a plan. Anything that looks weird, there is always a plan to fix it. All you have to do is tell me, create an issue, whatever, tell me on these office hours, and it will be fixed. And I will not sleep. Okay, maybe I will sleep, but it will be fixed. Let's see if this calamity appears in other places. Where do I have, like, I have an SQL... That was an SQL view. Table SQL users. Here there's an SQL editor. Ah yeah, here as well, huh? Here as well. Yeah. So this is actually relatively easy to fix. It's just setting the right MIME type on the user that, or the MIME type that you set on the editor, and then it's not only going to disappear, it is also going to give you the right syntax highlighting and the right IntelliSense suggestions for the SQL that you want to edit. So it's going to help. But what's interesting is, I don't know if we can do... I can't explore it now, but it would be cool if we could like get auto completion on the table names, but I'm not sure we can do that. That's maybe we can. I'll have to see if Monaco allows that. Great. Okay. If there are any more questions, this is the last couple of... Oh, I said I would say something about plans. Okay. So, okay, what are the plans? So, I'm not going to make like 5-year plans, because that's just, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years. But first of all, it looks like we're getting better funding in 2016, which is good. Well, we are getting better funding in 2016. I know that for a fact, but exactly how much is still not entirely finalized. But so what have we got? So one thing is, look, I know that there are a lot of problems in the builder, and that is for sure something that I want to get fixed here. Like even just, I can't scroll down here and then see this, and often, especially on a shallow window like this. I've got a whole list of things that I'd like fixed in the builder. First of all, we just need to modernize the code. This was written basically 4 years ago, and it's the version of React. Hey Cobalt, great, Happy New Year to you too, Merry Christmas. Okay, so look, this is using quite outdated libraries. Both the Craft version is outdated, the React is outdated. There's some build problems. We had a ticket for that yesterday, so that's going to get fixed. A couple of dark mode issues. I'm not entirely happy about this column editor. I'd like that to be more like the action. We have this thing on actions. Oh no, wait, actually maybe we have it on... We're not on tabs. Where we have this editor, you can go backwards and forwards and swap things around. That's much better. There's a really nice issue that Ingenuity put in where you could like drag in an item, and then you would enter something with the Copilot, and then it would populate that. So it could be an image, it could be like just some widgets, or it could be a view or something like that. That's really nice. Definitely want to do that. This layer code here is a bit of a mess. There's a bit of a hack to remove. There's this eye that I had to do some work to remove, but now it's a little bit of a mess and it's not working that well. You can see this open and close is in a funny place and stuff like that. Just a couple of issues there. We don't have any translation. That's super important, because everything else in Saltcorn is translated. So having the translation there is really important. Um, and then just sometimes dragging and stuff in and in. I think did we see this in another office hours that when I pick now, I've already lost the ability to drag into the drop menu, so that's gotten fiddly. Um, I'm still in two minds about whether we want a mobile preview that where you can switch. Like there's a button that says mobile versus desktop, maybe tablet, sort of a three-way switcher here, so you can preview at just by clicking this, you switch what you preview. I think that could be nice. That could be very nice. I think we should try that. And a super exciting thing is that many people have asked for is, can we get this to work on mobile? Can we get this to work on a tablet, essentially, so that on a tablet you can drag in, and that doesn't work for the moment. So I think one idea was, can you press, and then on a tablet you press over here and then it drops in. That's one possibility. The other possibility is just to make the drag and drop work on tablet. So that's a higher effort, and of course it doesn't affect everyone. But I know some people have said, when I'm on the road, then I want to build. I keep on saying to people, don't drive and build Saltcorn applications at the same time. If you feel some urgent need to build applications, just pull over and get your vehicle to a complete stop before you start building Saltcorn applications. But maybe we do want to give people some ability to build on tablets for that. So that's the plans for the builder. So we're going to get someone to fix that. If vastly more funding doesn't materialize for some reason, then it's just gonna have to be one of the people already working on the project, just dedicating more of their time on this, which is also, that could also work. But I'm just seeing more work materializing, and we're having to tell some people, like I have one project that I've postponed for 3 weeks because I don't have time to work on it. Very sorry about that. And but I need to get to that over Christmas. So everybody's just got too much work right now, and hopefully we will get the funding for getting more stuff, more people working on it. And people using Samsung Dex. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I know that people. It's interesting, this stuff. People running, running the whole desktop off a phone. I mean, it's a good solution, I guess. I've never tried it really, but yeah. Okay, so that is that. Was there anything else I wanted to say about that? Further development. Oh yes, yes. So we've got somebody who is super good. I haven't really talked to many people about this. A guy called Samuel. A super smart guy and very productive. Who is doing some cool stuff. And first project we have here is a machine learning system. No. SmartCore.js. And this is basically creating bindings to Rust libraries into the JavaScript, so you can use it from Node and therefore from Saltcorn. And so this is a machine learning system. So we've done some stuff where we've been doing machine learning based on scikit-learn in Python, but that just means you have to branch out to that. And that's very slow. That's got some performance limitations. So what we did was create a binding for a Rust machine learning library called SmartCore, and I'm doing the UI for this in Saltcorn, so you will have access to all of this fun stuff. This is like what AI looked like before ChatGPT. It's like machine learning. So you have all these algorithms. It's a very different way of thinking about AI than what's now called AI. And look, for some projects, you still need it, right? This can do some things that you can't do with ChatGPT, like predictive models. So this is one thing. So that port here is more or less done. It's a really nice library. We've done like trainable pipelines, and so you'll be able to set those up in Saltcorn as well. So you can have a train a pipeline of a predictive model from data to the predicted value. And I'll do something about the displaying like model diagnostics in as you're training. So that's one thing, and then the other thing that we've started in the same way is we've started working on this thing we call Hyper.js, and what this is, there's nothing really here, but this is really just started recently, and we're really just experimenting here. What this really is an effort to try and get away from the Node ecosystem of web libraries, especially when you have an application that's based on Node and Express. When you get a huge dependency tree of questionable npm dependencies, and what we're trying to do is basically to pull the rug out from under Saltcorn, that's based on the npm ecosystem, and instead based it on the Rust ecosystem. So we should have something that's should hopefully be higher performance, but that's not really the goal. But it's more a question of reliability, and sort of relying on the Rust ecosystem, which hoping is a little bit more dependable than the npm system. So, but this is a very experimental phase, and it's possible this won't happen. That's just we're experimenting with this, and those experiments could go either way. But there you go. So look, are you going to see that? Those of you who are no coders, how will you see this? You should mainly see it in terms of better reliability, better performance possibly, and maybe having better scalability characteristics. So one of the aims of that project is to have fewer database connections per node, so we can scale. You're not using, so when every time you connect to a database server, that connection uses up quite a lot of memory on the database server. So if we can reduce that number of connections, that's a benefit, and that would happen by pooling amongst the threads in an application. This is all getting very technical, but look, I do think that I think that the Node ecosystem is definitely showing its cracks, and it's just not there. And this is also a way to maybe pull in more contributions from people who are coding, and if we can get some of those to build a more solid ecosystem, I do think we all win. Okay, so look, I don't have anything else, and it looks like there are no other questions. So with that comment or whatever, I will call this meeting to a close. And Merry Christmas to everyone. I'm gonna have a couple of days off. Gotta do all the cooking. All the in-laws are coming. So I hope you guys will also take a bit of a break, or maybe build a couple of Saltcorn applications to track Santa or whatever, track presents. And I don't think we're doing another office hours between Christmas and New Year's, so it will be in the New Year's before we resume. Great to see you. Got a lot of people here today. I'm just gonna ask a couple of people if this time works better for everyone. It could actually work okay for me, and this sort of would allow lots of people to access these office hours. But I think we'll still move around a little bit instead of having a fixed hour that only works for people in some time zones. Okay, great. Thank you, and good to see everyone, and have a good Christmas.